Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. This is your host, Sir Stephen Topham the third at your service. We're going to talk about what is iOS protocol. Now, we have designed this protocol before the government even existed. So, it's gone from one generation to another. Basically, now we're down to, let's say, three generations down of the family. So technically, what is iOS protocol? Sorry for that, but there you go. But it has to be activated at some point. People have been asking questions, wanting answers. They will have to wait until the book is released, which is number one. Number two, where's Lady Hatt? Now, Lady Hatt, my private connections, colleagues, and connections, all of them all at once, even my agents, are looking for her very, very hard. But the iOS protocol means one of the engines is actually dead on my doorstep. Unfortunately, she died when I was very young, before I became the fat man, if you like to call me correctly, or Sir Topham the third. And then basically saying, look, you know, where is this engine? Where is she gone? Everybody's looking on the internet saying the third gen of Rosie. So I'm going to tell you something. I'll make it quite clear and crystal. Rosie is actually dead. Yes, died at the age of 21 when I was only just a teenager. Now wake up and smell the coffee on that. Her name, her real name, because of her engine status and her personality, her name is Claire Devlin of Cromer in Norfolk. Forward slash Sodor upside down. Now, this is why the iOS protocol has been activated right now, white Claire, white crystal. The iOS protocol has to be activated at some point of the year of my life, of my family, regardless of what generation it is, and we have to stop all the questions that have been floating about and get the answers out a little bit more. But we can't always give it out. So to Rosie forward slash Claire Devlin died at the age of 21 in the memory of R.I.P. Rest in peace. So please, if you think I have really done my research, I've done my homework because I lived my life to the full to the brim. But I haven't finished my job yet. So where's Lady Hatt at this present time? My agents and my private connections and colleagues are looking for her right now. So at this point, you're probably watching the coronation of the king being crowned, King Charles III. Well, I'm only Sir Stephen Topham the third generation of both families. Doesn't matter if it's royalty or not. You know, this makes facts a little bit more clear. Now, you're going to ask another question that's probably floating in your head. What is this pattern? Wake up and smell the coffee. Let me give you a hint. King Charles was named after my father, Charles Topham Hatt the second. Right? That's strike one. Now, the only thing I got on my list is where's Lady Hatt? You know, that's the biggest question that everybody's asking. Who's the last surname of Lady Hatt? Where is she and where she can be located? But there's only three people available. You have the you have my mother's family, you have my father's side of the family, which is my family, internally in the Hatt family, and then you also have the London connection, Gordon. Now, a lot of you are asking, this is not a joke. We're going back in time before you even existed. Before even Reverend Robert Audrey even start writing Thomas the Tank and Friends. It's based on reality to begin with. So if the whole thing was started in 1845, work it forward like you would do with the timeline and not messing about with it too much, because that's what I'm here to do, is clear up all the garbage, clear up all the scrap. Any scrap from all the diesel parts will turn into steam locomotive parts rather than the diesel parts. Then you've got the electric trains running at the moment. They've been totally scrapped at some point, but we have to work together, electric or steam, because steam is still really useful this very day. But like I said, with the iOS protocol, it is very, very highly recommended. It's called the Island of Sodor Protocol, as its full name. But to make it quite clear, this is not a game. This is a real life timeline of Thomas and Friends. Third generation. Already started at the end of season 24. Now, but it didn't even end there. Do you want me to tell you why? So all the early years done by Roald Norwester, yes, himself. He's got the rest of my timeline of the actual Hatt family, where my granddaughter is the last one to run it. So, to save her all the hasslement and go through all the same shit I've been through, excuse my language, which is definitely true indeed, and it will pay the price in the end. It will come through to light. So, in the day, Emily Helen Hatt survives this as much as I would. But if you look at the timeline and the correction of the timeline, in August 1963, my great uncle Herbert / Thomas the Tank, second generation, and then you got Molly, who was my great auntie. They both got married, but no kids of their own, only a stepson. So work it out, guys. What was the biggest mistake of the Steam team? The Hatt family fulfilled their promises all the way through from 1845 right to this present day. We've been keeping the Thomas franchise alive since that time. So work it out. So when Audrey was born in 1911, which he started working and writing the stories in 1934, just before my ancestor died a year later. So the book one was initially on my grandfather on both sides of the family and working way down, and it skipped a generation in the Hatt family. So it skipped my father and goes straight to me. So now the protocol is now a safeguard on me. So if this protocol gets broken by any other individual outside my premises, or any premises for that matter, like the North Norfolk Railway, like destroying name of Hazel on the B12, then they got hell to break loose. Let me explain, because this is a big, big story. You see, I think everybody knows where I'm going to come from this end, right? This video was uploaded by somebody else from the fandom. Let me explain this from the beginning so you get a rough idea what would happen if the timeline got busted. Now, you don't want Norman Spencer on the line, do you guys? Now, everybody that knows this timeline would understand why we try to prevent it a little bit. Now, we could talk about this day and night about this. But I'm gonna take this down, play it right through, and then share the screen. So hold up. Ahem. Oh boy, bust my buffer, sir. Is that true? Yes, Thomas, it's definitely true. As you see, we have a lot of credits, but this is done by these individuals. These individuals should get credited as they got their names on them. Now, as the story gets told through this, Thomas and friends in a wonderful life. But it didn't start off this way. Hold on, don't. As you understand, this is what it goes on at the moment. But if it goes directly into this, it's like I said, right, this will slowly happen, right? My guard, or I would say Thomas's guard, was coming to the session, and this is what will happen if Thomas wasn't in Norfolk. Thomas and friends was not in Norfolk / Sodor. This is what will happen. You have all of this and all of these accidents and all my engines all in different places, scrapped, heap, peep, if you will. This is just the insider of what you are going to get if you keep having what you will call in a directional approach of having Norman Spencer on the line. He's a real live individual, don't get me wrong, he's real and he's alive. So he is real, so look what's happening. So then eventually, without realizing, if you don't play your cards right, as they say, this is why Sodal Island Protocol was activated. As today's timeline goes through, this is the diesel timeline, which I am trying to prevent. I wasn't even a FAC controller. I was just a scout gentleman at this time line. This is a different timeline. Very, very different timeline. But Diesel 10 was the only one to witness it to say we need steam. Without the diesels and the steams locomotives, we will never exist. There won't be no Thomas coming down this route, for example, as you normally have in your intros. All of this will come to light, but eventually I'll come back to reality, because it's what it is. It's a reality version of it. So if you really want Norman Spencer on the line, watch out, because this is what it's eventually going down the line to. So if Hazel's name gets changed in any shape or form, this is why I initiated the iOS protocol, the Island of Sodor protocol. So while this is all happening all in truth, right, you're only seeing examples. What would happen if the engines never got picked up, got mended, or anything? All you will see is engines on the sidelines, and the diesels are ruling the universe, or ruling the timeline, as you like to call it. This is why I'm going through this step by step rather than going through all of this. So realistically, people who got credited for this, Thomas's Wonderful Life, I will send a link down at the bottom so you can watch the whole full thing swing in motion. So if the B12 gets renamed from Hazel to something else, you will have all of this to deal with. But in the end, it's the way you play it out. So, if you really want it that way, works out. Because now everybody's asking now for me, right now, while the timeline is still active in the pseudo and the early years, which it revolves around me and my wife, obviously, who I'm not married to yet, and my son who's not born yet, and my granddaughter who's not born yet. I hope this gives you an insight of what iOS protocol stands for. Thank you very much. Indeed.